We discussed the benefits of New Year's resolutions and whether they're effective, not effective. Renita Brandon is here this morning along with Melinda to talk about that and what the PFC Plate Challenge has done for Melinda. So good morning to both of you.
Good morning, Monica.
You look great.
Oh, we feel great.
Yeah.
That's important.
You look
right?
great too.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
She does.
Yeah, I'm so thankful that we're on talking about this because it's about this time. What are we on here? January 6th, 7th? People 8th. People start really saying, okay, is it really worth it? Getting up at 5 in the morning, you know, making my food ahead of time, drinking more water. They really start to second guess themselves, especially around this time. Studies show that about 90% stop their resolutions by January 15th.
Well,
so
yeah,
we're in a crucial time period here.
So the key then, and there are 5 keys.
There are
we're going
5
to talk
keys.
about that today.
And we're going to talk about that. Melinda is going to share her success story because she actually started on the PFC Plate, our first study, and has committed on January 1st again to our second study.
Okay, when did you start the first time?
October 1st.
Okay, so it hasn't been that long.
No, October 1st till, 24th of November or so.
Yeah.
And and how have you done so far?
Well, my A1C at the beginning of October was 8.4, which is an average of about the last 3 months of my consumption of food. And my doctor and I have been negotiating for about a year. Because
negotiations.
Yeah, I'm at the top of the oral med chain.
Right.
And he's talking insulin or one of the injectables, and I'm kind of freaked out by it because my family history is diabetes clear back as far as I can go with my grandmother, and I remember as a kid her coming to visit with insulin and needles and the whole bit.
The whole thing. Yep.
And Sweet 10, and you know, that followed through. She had 4 kids, all born in the late teens of 1900.
Wow.
And those 4 kids, as they aged out, all ended up with diabetes.
So you thought you probably had that. So
I've always felt I was getting it.
Right.
And my 11 cousins, first cousins, about half of us.
Oh my goodness. So
Yeah.
and you've had another A1C?
She's had another A1C since the start of the PFC Plate.
Right.
So and she was really interesting because during the entire journey, she said, I don't think it's going to change that much, Renita. This is only 2 months, not 3 months. And let them know what happened.
I ended up with a 6.1.
Wow.
Which just knocked me over, I'll tell you.
Yeah, it was incredible. So part of this is, like, when we're talking about these 5 steps in New Year's resolutions, we can put that graphic up real quick, and I want to pull it back to Melinda because she really has lived these 5 steps. So when you're trying to do New Year's resolutions, is it crucial or is it foolish to set these resolutions? It's crucial. People need growth. They're inspired by growth.
And if you don't set a definite plan, it's vague.
Nothing changes.
Right.
So set specific goals. That's what she did with the PFC Plate. Make them very public.
Tell people.
Like she said, I kind of pulled her into that, especially today.
Yes.
And then the third-party accountability, which is other people that are doing the study watching, myself watching, the person who's conducting the study watching, the nurse Cindy Fisher, who's taking the A1Cs watching. Clear consequences to failure, and I'll let her explain that because of the diabetes in her family, but celebration of victory. So when she came in from an 8.4 to a 6.1, we were jumping up and down, Monica, like this was no small feat. And so it's funny when I sent you the list yesterday, you said, what does consequences
like,
mean?
are they beating you with a Nerf bat? What is it? She's scary. What does that mean?
Well, clear consequences are like, so with this particular study, the next one, we actually had people pay $150, which is 100% refundable.
Okay.
100% of them they're getting their money back if they adhere to the study. Now, in Melinda's case, when she thought about consequences, I'll let you share about your mother, if you do that.
Yeah, my mom ended up with lung issues and autoimmune disease, and eventually she passed in '93. But the consequences of her diabetes, she wasn't diagnosed until her mid-60s. I was diagnosed about 20 years before that.
Sure.
So I've been at this about 30 years, and I watched my grandmother lose a leg. And so, I mean, I've known how serious the consequences are.
Vision loss, kidneys, all kinds of things.
Exactly.
Can happen,
Yep. And so clear consequences is we're not going to beat you with a Nerf bag. It's just knowing that in her case, hey, this is a consequence if I don't take control of this health. And it doesn't have to be a negative thing. It's positive reinforcement to move in the direction that she wanted to move. In the end, Melinda lost, what would we say, 12 inches, 13 inches?
Something like that.
So like a foot of fat, but she didn't come in major for weight loss. She's a little lady. She came in because she said, Renita, I want my A1Cs to look different. And
Sure.
and you weren't really sure if this was going to work.
Oh, I
So
wasn't.
it was about health. Not you weren't focused on your weight.
I could care less. I said I have tons of clothes. I don't worry about changing sizes right now.
Yeah.
I just want to knock those numbers to the curb.
Right. And so now are you going to be able to get off of meds at all? Or?
I haven't seen my doc. I don't know how he'll feel. And I don't know, we had a month or so in here in December where it was Christmas, and I had some indulgences along the way.
This will really help you to see how much of a difference those little things make.
Absolutely. And the best news is you can always, from moment to moment, you can decide to change.
Right.
That's the best thing about the PFC plate. It's not like, okay, I messed up the whole month.
No.
Today, this moment, right now, the next meal, you can decide to get right back on track with eating a protein, a fat, and a colorful carbohydrate to nourish your body.
Now, Cliff is using the plate right now because he was having trouble with portion control. And I shouldn't be, I hope he doesn't mind me talking about him, but he was that was his big issue.
Yep.
And so, and I think for guys too, you put the food on the table and then you're not quite satisfied and then you go back for more. And I think that the visual really helps you to see, okay, I really am not actually hungry and I should quit.
Yep. Do you want to talk about that? Because I said to Melinda, was this hard or was this easy? Like, what with this journey that you've been on with the PFC plate and the challenge? Talk to us about that for a second.
Well, with the diabetes journey, first of all, I was able to take care of it with diet. As I got older, I needed meds. And right now I'm at the threshold of insulin.
Needed the insulin.
And so when this came along, it was like, okay. And sometimes I got a little bit heavy on things. I know that. And probably that contributed to not losing as much weight.
For sure. Because
But
you don't realize how much
This
you're
is a
eating.
constant reminder.
Right.
I mean, it sits on the top of the plate pile in my kitchen, and I grab it all the time.
Right.
It hits the dishwasher, and I just keep rolling through. And yes, I think it's a very valuable tool.
Yeah, and I think that we should talk for a second about what that is. It's called an action trigger. And what an action trigger is in life is where we have we link a behavior with an environment. And so it's kind of like, you want to go to the gym, so you put your gym bag on the front seat of the car. Or you want to be drinking more water, so you set that glass of water on the kitchen counter so you get it that morning. But an action trigger is going to link that behavioral change that we're trying to do, in this case, eat correctly and nourish our body with the environment. And so the fact that she's got that at the top of the plate, where we all eat, that's our environment.
That's right.
The behavioral or the action trigger is she pulls that plate out. It's very difficult to eat unhealthy on this plate, isn't it?
Yeah, it gets you guilty.
You're not going to put it right.
It makes you guilty.
We're not trying to create guilt, but it does create conviction that I really do need to be nourishing myself, because I know that when I measure my food, like you said, like Cliff is doing, like Melinda's doing, it really does get those right behavioral patterns in check. And my goal is for everybody to be completely brainwashed
All right.
with nourishing their bodies with health and food.
Now,
Good.
people have more questions, and obviously they might after watching this. Where do they go?
Yeah, just get on over to PFC Plate. We have a Facebook page, and we also have the group that Melinda's in, where a lot of these participants are posting their foods. You can see beautiful plates of foods to get ideas.
Especially if you need some encouragement.
Some ideas and encouragement, and we promise not to whip anybody.
All right, no Nerf bats.
No
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on, and good for you.
Great job,
Thank you.
Melinda. Proud of you.
All right.